This is Mina, and she is the first of 2 brawlers coming with this new update in Brawl Stars. Mina has a good bit of depth to her abilities and her playstyle, and today I will show you all of it, as well as put her head-to-head in 1v1 interactions against every other brawler in Brawl Stars. Now, Mina is the second member of the Skate Trio alongside Ollie. She is a Brazilian breakdancer who incorporates the combat style of capoeira into her moves. She is a mythic damage dealer who has a respectable 8,200 hit points at max level. She's also a very mobile brawler with her fast movement speed, but also with a slight dash whenever she attacks. Now, that attack is broken down into 3 distinct levels that you need to combo to get the most out of it. Here's how it works. She has a bar underneath her ammo that decays quickly. If you fire off an attack before that bar goes away, it'll become the next level of that attack and that bar will reset. So what are those levels? Well, there are 3 of them. The first level has a long range, but only deals 1,600 damage. The second level has a mid-range, but slightly wider, and deals 2,800 damage. And if you can combo that to the third level, it has a wide cone shot that deals a massive 4,400 damage. However, if at any point the bar goes away before you can fire your next shot, it will reset back to level 1. Now, that final attack can also be enhanced by using her first star power called Zoom Zoom Zoom. Or maybe that's Zum Zum Zum. You know what? I don't know. With this star power, her final attack will also heal her for half the damage that her third level attack deals, which at max level, that means 2,200 hit points of healing. So very strong. For her super, she unleashes a hurricane in a large area. Now, this hurricane deals 2,000 damage, but it also launches enemies high into the air. This super can be improved in 2 ways. Her second star power, called Blown Away, will also root enemies in place, but if you use her second gadget before using that super and then you land that shot on someone, it will instantly give you another super. This is a wildly offensive gadget that not only can deal a lot of damage, but also immobilize an opponent for a good chunk of time. But if you perhaps want to be more defensive, you can use her other gadget called Windmill. With this, it creates a wall of wind around her that blocks projectiles for 3 seconds. Now, all of this seems really strong. And it is, but she does have some weaknesses, as you will see as we move through these interactions. So let's start this off with her first opponents, the throwers. Now, naturally, these throwers don't stand much of a chance in these interactions, but ones like Mike here, he actually does get off some shots before dying. Tick close up is, well, his tick. But Grom, once again, does land some shots. Before dying, that is. Larry dealt some damage as well, but Mina healed back up thanks to her star power, and Sprout, well, he doesn't go down without a fight at least. Juju also gets off all of her shots, but it's just not enough. So yeah, they all lose. No surprise there, but in a game, I actually don't hate this matchup for the throwers. If Mina can combo all of her shots, she deals a lot of damage, but how is she going to hit those shots with a thrower on the other side of the wall? She does not have a wall break, so there's no help for her there, but she does have a slight dash in between her shots, so she might be able to use that fast movement speed and that slight dash to get to the thrower, but hopefully you have some teammates around that can help you out if she's harassing you that bad. That being said, it might be hard to hit your shots on her at all as a thrower because of that movement speed and that small dash, but as long as you play it safe, keep away from her, which you should be as a thrower, you're probably going to be all right. That is, as long as she doesn't root you with her super and then come get you. But let's go to the other extreme and put her up against her worst matchup, the tanks. Now, there are some damage dealers that can beat some of these tanks, but Bull and Daryl point blank, yeah, not happening. Now, Mina does put up a good fight against El Primo, getting some heals, but eventually she runs out of steam. And it looks like the same thing is going to happen with Rosa, but Mina comes out on top this time. Jackie's counter crush just crushes Mina's hopes, and it may take Frank a bit longer to get the job done, but get the job done he does. BB swings for the fences, but in the end strikes out. And once Ash gets his rage buildup, he has just enough health left to win. Hank gets the big damage up front, but Mina's able to heal half of that back en route to a win over the Shrimp in a cool skin. Now, that healing comes in real handy against Trunk as she needed it to walk away on top. Now, up close, Buster just shreds her, and Mina's fellow trio member Ollie gets shown up in a long, drawn-out battle thanks to Ollie's low damage output. Now, the battle with Meg starts out intense, but quickly ends up with them both just doing barely any damage. However, Mina builds up a 2-shot combo and gets the dub. Now, she does managed to withstand 3 big stabs from Draco before losing a close one. So that was a mixed bag right there. I mean, she did well against some of the tanks and some of them not so much. One thing that we learned here though is that Mina is not a big tank buster like Griff or Shelly. She can combo her way into some big damage at times and use that super to help the cause as well, but it's going to take all that she's got to drop these tanks. But she can do it, and that's mainly thanks to her range. She'll be able to chip away a good chunk of their health from a distance where they can't reach her, but if she gets up really close to these bruisers, she could find herself in a bad spot. You'll want to play it safe and make sure that you have your shots built up and utilize those combos along with your super, and if you do that, then yeah, you can get the job done. But if you get caught slipping and these tanks end up on your front doorstep, you may have a tough time getting rid of them. But it's winnable. Just gotta play it right. Speaking of the other damage dealers, let's see how Mina does against her own class. Now, as you watch these interactions, I want you to pay attention to something. I mentioned her weaknesses in the start, and we get to see it here against her fellow damage dealers. I mean, sure, he does a lot of damage, but her unload speed on her big shot is just too slow to take advantage of his low health. This is her one weakness. I mean, she can put out a lot of damage, but that damage isn't near as instant as some of these other brawlers. A perfect example is Surge. I mean, yeah, he loses, but look how much faster he gets off his shots. Now, that's not to say that her unload speed is like really slow, but it's slow enough on her final kick that you can feel it. That being said, she still kicks Eve back to her planet, and RT actually has a slower unload speed as well. Clancy at level 2 gets cooked, and Mo just doesn't pack enough punch to win. Lumi at close range can't get her shots back fast enough, and Spike gets turned into aloe vera. Scientifically accurate. But if you want burst damage, well, there's always Chester. Now, I say that this is her big weakness, and it is a weakness, but is that actually bad? It's really only a weakness if you were trying to make the perfect brawler, and do we really always want a completely crazy broken brawler every single time? I don't think so. And during a real match, things are usually messy and not perfect anyway. And for all of that, I think that she fares pretty well against the other damage dealers. There are going to be times where she's going to be able to combo her way to easy wins, but I can also see her getting pushed around by some of these other brawlers as well. It's not always going to be an easy matchup for her, but all of them are winnable across the board if you play it right, which I actually like for this class, and I think that she has a lot of utility to make her mark and fit in nicely, but will that mark be put on her by our next class? The marksmen don't want to be here, getting kicked in the face at point blank range, but I mean, hey, this is my video. They don't have a choice. Mina isn't allergic to bees, as it turns out, but robotic nannies? Ouch. Bonnie's shots are just not going to cut it here, and Belle gets her shots off, but it's not enough. Mandy gets dunked on real fast, but Maisie and her fast unload gets a win. Angelo at least gets one shot off, and Janet gets them all off, but in the end, they both lose. Now, none of that was really surprising, and in a game, if Mina gets close to you, it's not going to probably look much different. She does have the ability to chip at you, though, from a decent distance. Not like full-on marksman range, but it's respectable at least. And even though that shot doesn't do a ton of damage, these snipers don't have a lot of health either, so you don't have to be in their lap to make it work. Combine that with her ability to get closer with her quasi-dash, and it could spell a lot of trouble for these brawlers. Now, Maisie did well in her interactions, but her delayed shots might be tough to hit with Mina and her speed, but she does have some defensive capabilities to keep her at bay. But all in all, this is not a great matchup for the marksman, much like against most damage dealers, if they can close the gap. But play it safe, hit your shots, and you'll be just fine. Miss some shots though, and yeah, it might be tough. And speaking of tough matchups, let's see what the assassins can do against Mina. Mina starts us out strong, taking down Stu with ease, but both her and Edgar can heal. However, Fisticuffs comes out on top. Sam wins, but it's not by much without his super, and Shade gets clapped back to the lobby real quick. And Mortis manages to dash past her big kick, saving his skin. Well, at least for a moment. Buzz doesn't need a super to win this one, but in the battle of kicks, Mina beats Fang. Miko does what, well, Miko does, and the delay on Mina's last shot saves him. Melody learns to sing, in the key of L, and Lily gets a quick lead in the damage before Mina takes over. Allie isn't the hot new brawler anymore, and Mina lets her know it. Now, Crow might be wearing a cool skin, but it won't help him get this win. Leon, however, he needs no help at all. Core doesn't either, as he takes down Mina pretty darn easy. Kenji gets sliced to bits by a foot, and his wife Kaze doesn't fare much better as she joins Kenji Kenji on the losing team. Now, honestly, I was a bit surprised by some of these. I really thought that with how her slow unload speed is on her third shot, that it would give these assassins a opening to finish her off, and some of them did just that, but she held her own against many of them as well. Now, in a game, if an assassin gets the drop on you, it's still going to be rough sailing, but you could use a super here to flip the script on them. Maybe even her defensive gadget to help block some of that damage if you need it. Now, I would still give the assassins the edge, but Mina ain't no pushover. She absolutely has the damage, health, speed, and utility to counter many an assassin, so watch your step if you're going in for the kill against her. Now, another group that is going to need to watch their step is the Control Brawlers, so let's see how they do. Now, the Control Brawlers aren't exactly known for their heavy damage, but they have some surprises in store for us, just not Penny. Bo came really close to winning before Mina healed up, and Ems is not messing around and wins with a photo finish. Now, at this range, almost nobody beats Griff, and Gale tries, but yeah, he's sent back to the nursing home. Meeple just doesn't have the firepower to get a win here, and Gene, well, he was wishing for more damage. However, Mr. P gets double the bounce damage and waddles away as the winner. Squeak is gone before all of his shots manage to explode, and Lou freezes Mina. Just a little too late though. Otis puts out some serious damage, but it's not enough, while Willow hardly does any damage at all. Chuck comes real close, but Mina's heal saves her here big time. Charlie's damage may be consistent, but it's not bursty, and Finks was wishing that he could turn back time to get another chance. Sandy, however, just wanted to take a nap, not fight. Amber lets the fire burn, but in the end, she gets roasted. Now, the controllers are always a mixed bag to fight against. Now, for some of them, it's just so much damage that it's really tough to even be able to get close to them to deal your damage, but others, you can kind of just run them down. But if the Control Brawlers use all of their tools at their disposal, they could hang with Mina and keep her at bay until they get fully set up. But many of these brawlers are going to be pretty susceptible to getting overpowered by not just Mina, but all the damage dealers, and it's going to be no different here. If you're playing something like a Griff, you probably don't have too much to worry about, but some other brawlers, you could be in some serious trouble. Play it safe when you need to, and use the Control Brawler's powers to your advantage, and you should be able to turn the tides. But as a Mina, you're going to want to pick the fights carefully and overpower the ones that you can hang with and make them wish that they were in another lane. So then, our last group to face off against Mina is the Support Brawlers, and I'm not expecting much, but at least we get to see that cool Poco Hypercharged skin. I mean, at least for like a second. Pam avenges him with a very convincing win. Barry never really stood a chance here, and Max may fire fast, but Mina kicks hard. Poor Byron, he's still looking for that first win, but Ruffs at least puts up a solid fight. Gray's finger guns didn't deal enough damage, but Doug is able to narrowly win because he can heal as well. Jay Young tried a new song, we were not impressed, and Kit's claws were sharp, but not sharp enough. So then, you've seen Mina 1v1 versus every brawler in Brawl Stars. How good is she going to be? Well, this one is actually a bit of a tough one. On one hand, I really enjoy her playstyle. The constant movement speed is very strong, and she's going to be hard to pin down. Like, you're going to miss a lot of shots that you take at Mina for sure. She feels like a budget Stu, but with a shorter dash. And I don't mean that in a bad way. What Stu can do well, he does better than Mina. But Mina is a lot easier to play than Stu is, especially with the dashes. On the flip side, Mina has a much higher damage potential. But that being said, the third kick of hers is sometimes hard to hit because of the shot delay of it coming out, as well as you're going to have to combo enough shots and be in a short range enough to actually hit it. Which that alone makes her healing star power a little less valuable, although it's still pretty good. Her super is really strong, and it's going to be very tough to deal with as she gets it pretty darn quick. So while it's a bit hard to tell because this is just the dev build right now, my gut tells me that she's going to be for sure on the strong side. Surprise, surprise. And she's also going to be very annoying to play against, but maybe not like totally OP. I don't think she's going to be completely cracked. I think that really good players, of course, will get the most out of her because the skill cap is higher than, say, like a lower rarity brawler. A newer player would probably have a tougher time with her, and in their hands, she'd probably look pretty bad. It's pretty easy to play her poorly, but overall, I'm really happy with how she feels, actually. She's strong, hopefully not too strong, and she might be cracked in the right hands, but you can't count on the big damage combos all the time. But when you hit them and you utilize that super of hers, you're going to be very deadly. But how will she compare to the other new brawler, Ziggy? Well, come back tomorrow to find out.